All right, so today we're jumping into a pretty incredible story. We're breaking down the source material on a geopolitical crisis that seriously brought the world right to the brink of a massive war. A conflict that, according to the source, was stopped literally in its final hours. To really get a sense of how high the stakes were here, you have to look at this quote. According to the source, this came from President Trump just one day before a planned U.S. military strike. I mean, end a whole civilization? It doesn't get much more serious than that. It just shows you how close things were to tipping over the edge. And this whole thing, as the source lays it out, was playing out against a literal ticking clock. There was a hard deadline, 5 a.m. That's when a major U.S. bombing campaign against Iran was set to begin. The world was just holding its breath as time was running out. Now, here's where the story takes a really fascinating turn. With just a few hours left on that clock, the source video claims a pivotal, last-ditch diplomatic move came from a totally unexpected player, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Okay, so picture this. It's 17 minutes past midnight. That 5 a.m. deadline is looming. And then this gets posted on social media. It's a direct, public appeal aimed right at de-escalation, and it puts a real, concrete proposal out there for the whole world to see. And you gotta understand, the source makes it clear this wasn't just some vague, hey, can we all get along kind of plea. No, it laid out 3 very specific, very actionable steps. First, push the deadline back 2 weeks. Second, get a complete ceasefire from everyone for those 2 weeks. And third, as a show of good faith, Iran reopens the supercritical Strait of Hormuz. So you've got this proposal out in the open. What happens next? Well, according to the video's narrator, this one single tweet sent absolute shockwaves across the globe, from international markets all the way to the White House. And it wasn't just talk. The source claims that major news outlets like CNN started reporting that Prime Minister Sharif's request, which they noted was backed by Field Marshal Asim Munir, wasn't being dismissed at all. Actually, it was being considered very seriously and positively at the very highest levels. And then, the breakthrough. At 3:32 a.m., we're talking less than 90 minutes before the bombs were set to drop, President Trump posted this. And look, he specifically names the Pakistani leadership, giving them direct credit for his decision to call off the attack. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. It shows the direct one-to-one link the source is drawing here. Pakistan asks for a 2-week extension, the U.S. agrees to a 2-week suspension. Pakistan asks for a ceasefire, the U.S. agrees to a double-sided ceasefire. And that suspension? It's tied directly to the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, exactly as requested. It's a clear cause and effect. Okay, so the immediate danger is gone. The world breathes this collective sigh of relief. The source video then shifts gears a little and starts to analyze the fallout, the reactions, and who, if anybody, actually won. And the first thing you could literally see was the effect on global oil prices. I mean, look at this. Prices just took a nosedive, dropping from around $115 a barrel to under $100 almost instantly. That's a huge, tangible sign of massive international relief. So what's the big takeaway from the source? Well, the narrator boils it all down to this one pretty bold conclusion, that in this whole mess, where both the US and Iran took a hit, there was one clear, undisputed winner. And it was Pakistan. And here's the thinking behind that claim. The source argues that Pakistan got exactly what it wanted. Peace without firing a single shot, without taking any damage. It stopped a war that could have been absolutely catastrophic, and, in doing so, earned a ton of international respect. But, it's never quite that simple, is it? The source is also quick to point out that this fragile peace wasn't exactly celebrated everywhere, and it left behind some pretty big, lingering questions. According to the source, the reaction from neighboring India was, well, intensely negative. There was apparently widespread shock and a refusal to accept Pakistan's central role. The source even quotes someone on social media saying they'd rather have a war than a peace deal brokered by Islamabad. And all of this leaves us with these key questions that the source doesn't have answers for yet. Is this peace just temporary? I mean, is this 2-week ceasefire actually going to hold? Is everyone in the region on board, especially Israel? And maybe most importantly for Pakistanis, will this diplomatic win actually lead to any real economic benefits back home? We just don't know. And that's really the core of this whole account. It's the story of a war that almost happened. It's a narrative that, according to this source, really shows the incredible power of negotiation and unexpected diplomacy to completely change the course of history, even when you were just seconds away from midnight.